Hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I am coming to you live from Tappan Street Gymnasium in Brookline, Massachusetts, here to bring you the last home game for the Brookline Warriors girls volleyball team of this wild 2021 season. The Warriors hosting the Wildcats of Weymouth High School here. As you can see from the warm-up clock, we're just a few minutes away. And as you can also see on the wall in the back, the Brookline Warriors honoring their 6 seniors with today's Senior Day game, their last home game on the docket. Those 6 seniors: number 12, Caroline Viola; number 8, Jamie Chamberlain; number 14, Ayana Medina; number 18, Kali Alexander, who some might also recognize as wearing the number 1 when wearing her Libero jersey; number 9, Lily Sternlicht; and number 17, Jade Lee. So a very fine group of young women being honored today for this Senior Day game, as Brookline wrapping up their season. They have one more road game after this. They'll be playing on the road at Weymouth to wrap up their season on Thursday, and I intend to be at that game as well. But for right now, they are raring to go, getting ready for this game at home, their last home game of the season. A little under a minute to go before we get this match underway. The Warriors trying to snap a rather lengthy losing streak that they've been dealing with. They opened the season, of course, with a pair of losses to Milton, then came up with back-to-back wins against Framingham, and since then they've been facing the gauntlet. 2 losses to Newton North, 2 losses to Needham, and then 2 losses last week to Braintree. So hoping to end this weird 2021 season on a positive note, as we now see them wrapping up their warm-up session here. And we are just about ready to get this match underway. Once again, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, bringing you live video and play-by-play coverage of this high school girls volleyball match between the hosting Brookline High Warriors and the visiting Weymouth High Wildcats. Once again, the Senior Day game for the Warriors, as I expect they'll start the game off with a lineup consisting of all 6 of their seniors. And it looks like we're going to start things off with a little ceremony for the seniors, as we got some flowers coming out. And the team's lining up on their sideline. Weymouth is lighting up on their back line as well. A little hard to hear, but they are talking about honoring the seniors here on Senior Day. Oh, and it looks like they'll be passing off bouquets to Weymouth seniors. So that's a nice touch there. That is Brookline's number 16, Morgan Brandel, handing off the bouquets. The seniors for the Wildcats, number 8, Liliana Callahan, number 16, Maya DeCane, number 10, Renee De Lazaro, number 5, Catherine Marshall, number 13, Karen McCarthy, number 4, Lily McDonald, and number 6, Claire Wegruzin. I might have butchered the pronunciation of that last name, but still, congratulations to the Weymouth seniors as now they get ready to honor the Brookline seniors. As the underclassmen pass off the bouquets to Brookline's senior players. Once again, that group consisting of number 12, Caroline Viola, number 14, Ayana Medina, number 17, Jade Lee, number 9, Lily Sternlicht, and the co-captains, number 18/number 1, Kali Alexander, who wears number 1 when she plays the libero position, and the other co-captain, number 8, Jamie Chamberlain. So nice little ceremony there to honor the seniors from both teams. I honestly wasn't expecting it to go both ways, so that was a pleasant surprise from an outsider's perspective. Usually when you have these senior days, it's just an honor for the home team. But of course, usually you get a nice crowd. They get to come out with their families. It's a whole big thing. And in 2021, it's just hard. This whole year has just been hard organizing these things. And so hats off for them, you know, giving Weymouth a little bit of an extra something here on this senior day today. As predicted, Brookline opening with with what appears to, not entirely be an all senior lineup. They've got Jamie Chamberlain, Caroline Viola, Jade Lee, Lily Sternlicht, and Kali Alexander. And they've got Morgan Brandel, the one non-senior, in for this lineup, which makes sense in a way because none of their setters are seniors, and you need to have a setter out there. So makes sense to have Brandel out there as your setter. Looks like we're about ready to get this underway. Serving away. Here comes Weymouth's opening serve. It's up and over. Received by Alexander. Set by Brandel. Spike by Chamberlain. And can they recover? No, they can't. We open with a kill by the senior co-captain Jamie Chamberlain. And Brookline takes a 1-0 lead. That opening serve came from Weymouth's number 8, Liliana Callahan. But it was Brookline's number 8, Jamie Chamberlain, that ultimately finished it off. And now she'll be following it up with her serve. Chamberlain sends it up and over. It's received and then set. The spike received by Alexander, but can they keep it alive? They cannot. That kill goes to number 4, Lily McDonald, who will also be following up her kill with a serve. 1-1 the score after back-to-back kills by senior hitters on both sides. McDonald serves it away. Received by Chamberlain. Set by Brandel. Spiked into the net by Millie Gumpel. McDonald back to serve again with a 2-1 lead now. Serve is away, and that one went long. So Brookline gets a point off the error. And another one of their seniors, Caroline Viola, will take the serve as a different senior, Ayana Medina, checks in, replacing Kali Alexander. Serve by Viola is received by Callahan, then bumped by McDonald. They just got to bump it over, and no one was ready for it. So the point comes from number 5, Catherine Marshall. on what was really just a defensive play. Weymouth serves it over. It's received, set by Brandel, spiked by Medina, received by McDonald, bumped by Marshall, sent over by Callahan, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, tapped, sort of punched over by Medina. Now Weymouth trying to get it over, and they barely do. It's received by Lee, set by Brandel, spiked over by Lee. It's partially deflected, and now they're just tapping it back and forth, just trying to get set. Chamberlain receives that one, set by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel is received. Now the set, spike by Callahan is received by Chamberlain, tapped over by Medina on two. This rally just keeps going, and it ends with a spike into the net. The final error by number 6, Claire Wegrzen. 3-3, and we've got Jade Lee serving it up for Brookline. Up and over. It is received, set, and then spiked by number 13, but they're going to say some kind of illegal. Oh, it's some kind of an illegal move on Brookline? I don't know. I was a little confused there. Serve goes up and over, received by Chamberlain, bumped by Brandel, spike by Chamberlain, is received by number 13, set by Marshall, spike by Callahan is deflected and then taken by Alexander. It's the set by Brandel, Gumpel for the spike, it's taken by McDonald, tapped over on two by Marshall, sent back on one by Chamberlain, tapped, and somehow Brookline's trying to stay alive. Alexander sends it over, received by the libero, set by Marshall, spiked, and they're going to say that hit the line. Good kill by Weymouth, and they take a 5-3 lead. Now serving is number 13, Karen McCarthy. McCarthy, I think that one was short. And now we got a substitution for Brookline. Another senior coming in. This is Lily Sternlicht coming in to serve. Sternlicht's strong serving led a valiant comeback against Braintree last week as her serve is taken by the libero, bumped by Marshall, spiked over by Callahan, but wide. And so Brookline knots things up at 5. Sternlicht back on serve in this tied first set. Up and over it goes, and it's awkwardly received, and that's going to go for an ace. The libero, Maya DeCane, was not quite ready for that one, and Brookline takes a 6-5 lead. Sternlicht keeps it going. Received by McDonald, set by Marshall, spiked through, and that's going to go for the kill. Claire Wegzen ties it up at 6. Serving now is Liliana Callahan. Sends it up and over. Received by Alexander, set by Brandel. Just a tap by Chamberlain. Received and now spiked. Received by Lee, followed up by Brandel. Bumped over by Alexander. It's received, set by Marshall. Spiked by McDonald is going to go long. Brookline now at the 7-6 lead off the error. Caroline Viola checks in, replacing Alexander, and it'll be Ayana Medina on serve. Medina sends it over. It's received by McCarthy, bumped by Marshall, tapped over, received by Lee, set by Brandel, spiked by Viola, is going to go for the kill. Caroline Viola, she's got one of the quickest serve spike follow-throughs, I should say. Doesn't go for a big windup, just sort of slaps it down immediately, taking advantage of her height. Medina serves. It's received. Set by Marshall, spiked over, but did she touch the net? They say she did. The set by Marshall was too close to the net, and Wegzen could not get it over without touching the net. 9-6, the Brookline lead now. Medina, another serve. It's received by McCarthy, but they couldn't follow it up. That's going to go for an ace. Oops. Number 2, Raya Sabunga, could not follow up the awkward receive by McCarthy. Brookline 10-6. Medina the serve. Taken by Sabunga. Bumped by Marshall. Spike by Wegson. Received by Medina. Set by Brandel. Just has to bump it over. That was Chamberlain. Received by DeCane. Bumped by Marshall. Pushed over. Taken by Sternlicht. Bumped by Viola. Punched over by Chamberlain. Received. Set by Marshall. Spiked by McDonald, and they couldn't block it. Deflected off the hands of Caroline Viola. That goes for a kill by Lily McDonald. It'll now be Wegson, Claire Wegson serving for Weymouth as the Wildcats trail the hosting Warriors 10-7. The serve is up and over, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spike into the net by Chamberlain. 10-8 the score. Wegson with the serve. This one's high and taken by Alexander. Set by Brandel, and a tap over by Chamberlain, and oh, they're going to say Chamberlain ran into the net this time. So back-to-back errors on set plays by Brookline, and the deficit is shrank to 1. Wegson on serve again. Received by Lee. Set by Brandel. Spike by Viola is received. Set by Marshall. Spike by McDonald. The roll shot goes long. Brookline again benefiting off an error by Weymouth. 11-9 now the score. Serving is Morgan Brandel. Brandel serve up and over. It's received, bumped by Marshall, and sent over by, I believe, Wegson. Alexander receives it, set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain goes for the kill. She had a couple of errors off her last 2 spike attempts, but that one was perfect. A laser straight from hand to hardwood as Chamberlain gets the kill and Brookline gets the 12-9 lead. Brandel with the serve once again. It is received, set by Marshall, spiked over, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spiked over awkwardly by Chamberlain, received, set by Marshall, spike, tap over by McDonald, and a savvy tap gets the kill. Lily McDonald with the kill there. Jump serve from Marshall is received short by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, spike by Chamberlain is another kill. Sabunga could not corral the spike by Jamie Chamberlain, who now it looks like it's going to check out, along with Lily Sternlicht. And checking in for Brookline will be number 10, Millie Gumpel, and for the first time, number 5, Farrah Caballero. 13-10, Brookline leads, and the recently subbed in Caballero takes the serve, sends it up and over, received by McDonald, set by Marshall, tapped over, received by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel is slightly deflected, and they keep it alive. They just have to push it over. Alexander takes it, set by Brandel. The quick spike by Viola is received once again, sent over on 2, kept alive, and still kept alive, but not enough. Strong efforts by Caballero and Alexander to try and keep it alive, but nothing doing there. And it'll be Lily McDonald on serve for Weymouth as number 8, Liliana Callahan checks in for Weymouth. 13-11 the score. Serve by McDonald is received by Gumpel, set by Brandel, and Viola just has to bump it over, awkwardly received. They're trying to put something together, just has to be pushed over by Callahan, kept alive, and Brandel barely gets it over, sent back, and again Brookline just barely keeping it alive, but it goes wide. Wild sequence there, but ultimately Brookline could not overcome it. McDonald back on serve, her team trailing by 1. Received by Caballero, followed up with by Alexander, punched over by Gumpel, and that's awkwardly received, but can Weymouth get it over? They do, but it's wide. That was either Wegson or McDonald who couldn't quite corral it off the long punch by Millie Gumpel. And now it'll be Viola on serve. She sends it over. Received by Callahan, bumped by Marshall, pushed over awkwardly. Viola takes it, set by Brandel, punched by Medina, received, set by Marshall, the spike by DeCane, and that's going to go for the kill. My mistake, that was McCarthy, not DeCane. Karen McCarthy gets the kill on that one. Weymouth takes back the serve, and this game is once again down to a 1-point lead. This is number 11, Larissa Gilberto, on serve, and her serve goes long. Brookline back up by 2 as Gilberto subs out for DeCane after the erroneous serve. Jade Lee on serve for Brookline, sends it up and over. Received, bumped by Marshall, tapped over by Callahan, received by Lee. It's to an awkward spot though, and no one can follow it up. Bit of confusion there. I don't think Lee's first hit went where she wanted it to. Now the serve by McCarthy is received by Alexander, bumped by Brandel, the spike by Caballero. Received by McCarthy, bumped by Marshall, spike by Callahan, goes wide. Not often you're going to see a spike from Fair Caballero. She's typically more of a defensive specialist, as she and Millie Gumpel now check out for Lily Sternlicht and Jamie Chamberlain. Brookline with the 16-14 lead over Weymouth here in the first set. It's been a very back and forth first set. Neither team has really grabbed much momentum thus far. I don't think we've seen a lead bigger than 3 yet. As are they searching for the ball? I think they needed to bring out another ball. I think they lost the other one through the door and into the other room. That's kind of funny. Sternlicht on serve, sends it over, received by DeCane, bumped over on 2 by Callahan, kept alive by Alexander, bumped by Brandel, and they can't follow that up. So once again, down to a 1-point game after a weird point there, and it's Callahan, Liliana Callahan serving for Weymouth, and her serve goes wide. 17-15 as Brookline takes the serve right back, and Caroline Viola subs in for Alexander. It'll be Ayana Medina on serve. Up and over it goes. Received kind of awkwardly. Kept alive, and they just have to try and bump it over, and Sabunga can't get it over. That started with an awkward receive by Karen McCarthy. Claire Wegson tried to keep it in play, but Sabunga's hard third bump could not get past the ceiling. They send this one over on 2, received by Sternlicht. And now the spike by Chamberlain, again, hand to Hardwood for the kill. Brookline now with what I believe is the biggest lead of the set thus far, 19-15, as a timeout is called by Weymouth. Brookline starting to pull away ever so slightly, but momentum can certainly turn. If you make one mistake and lose your serve, then immediately the other team can start to put a string of points together. So now we come out of the timeout. Once again, Brookline leading 19-15 here in the first set. One of the 6 seniors on Brookline's roster back on serve. That is my Ayana Medina. It's received by McCarthy, set by Marshall. Spike by McDonald is received by Lee. Set by Brandel. Spike by Chamberlain is received by McCarthy. Set by McDonald. Bumped over. Received by Medina. Set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain again is received kind of awkwardly, and this one will go for the kill. Maya DeCane couldn't rein in that one. And another kill by Chamberlain gives Brookline the 20-15 lead. Medina again sends it up and over. Again received awkwardly by McCarthy, and this one's going to go for an ace. Ayana Medina putting together a nice string of service points here for the Warriors as they now lead by 6, just 4 points away from taking the first set. Medina received by DeCane and not followed up on. Again, the libero, Maya DeCane, thrown off by the serves of Ayana Medina. Back-to-back aces. Brookline's up 22-15. Medina the serve, received by DeCane. This one can't even go over. 3 straight aces, all of them to Weymouth's libero, Maya DeCane. Ayana Medina putting a string together here. 23-15 the score. She chooses not to swing at that one, so gets a let there. She can try again. Sends it up and over. Received this time by McCarthy. Set by Marshall. The spike by Wegson is received by Lee. Set by Brandel. A spike by Chamberlain. Another kill. Wegson tried to block that one, but it went off the side of her hands. Brookline now at set point, 24-15. Medina, another serve, received by DeCane, tapped over on 2 by Marshall, received by Sternlich, set by Brandel, punched over by Chamberlain, and it goes wide. Chamberlain was waiting for the call of a successful point, but wide of the sideline there, 24-16 the score instead. Served over, taken by Chamberlain, set by Brandel. Chamberlain winds up and spikes it. It's received, set by Marshall, tapped over by McDonald, and that'll go for another point. 24-17. Claire Wegson on serve for the Wildcats. Up and over it goes. Received awkwardly by Sternlicht, followed up by Brandel. Spike by Chamberlain is blocked, recovered by Brandel, followed up by Lee. Pushed over by Alexander, received by Marshall, and sent over on 2 and received by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Sternlicht goes right into the net. 3 straight points on set point by Weymouth. Wegson, the serve once again, received by Lee, set by Brandel. Quick spike by Viola, and it goes long. A nice string of points put together here by Weymouth with their backs to the wall. Wegson serves it away again. Received by Alexander. Set by Brandel. Just has to be bumped over by Viola. Received by Sabunga. Set by Marshall. The spike is going to go long, and that's going to do it. The error on the spike by Claire Wegson goes long, and Brookline takes the first set 25-19. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, live here at Tappan Street Gym in Brookline, Massachusetts. So happy to see so many people tuning in for this live stream. Be sure to send some shout outs to your favorite seniors or just your favorite players in the live chat here or in the comments after the video is permanently posted on my YouTube channel after the fact. Either way, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. We got about 2.5 minutes left in this between set break, and I'll take a bit of a mute break myself, but I'll be back with the second set. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Tappan Street Gym in Brookline, Massachusetts. I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, here to bring you the second set of this high school girls volleyball matchup between the hosting Brookline High Warriors and the visiting Weymouth High Wildcats. Brookline took the first set 25-19 as they now get ready for the second set. For Brookline, a slightly different lineup, and we got a couple players seeing the floor for the first time. That's number 6, Vera Montero, and number 11, Sophie Hester. They take to the hardwood along with Jamie Chamberlain, Morgan Brandel, Lily Sternlicht, and Kali Alexander. Brandel will have the first serve of this second set. Serve is up and over, received by McCarthy, set by Marshall, pushed over by McCarthy, taken by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain goes to the corner. Longer spike than what you usually see from Chamberlain, but nicely placed in the corner, and Brookline takes the 1-0 lead. Brandel the serve. Received by Wegzin, set by Marshall, pushed over, received by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, spiked by Chamberlain, is blocked. Chamberlain keeps it alive, set by Brandel, spiked by Montero, blocked again, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spiked by Hester, received by Wegzin, set by Marshall, spiked by McDonald, is slightly blocked but not enough. What an effort in the middle by number 11, Larissa Gilberto of Weymouth. Wildcats tie it up at 1. McDonald serve. The line drive is taken by Sternlicht, followed up by Brandel. Long spike by Chamberlain, goes for the kill. Slightly deflected at the net by Gilberto and McCarthy, but no one could quite follow it up. So that'll be a 2-1 lead. Chamberlain now on serve after getting Brookline both their points so far. A high serve is taken by McDonald, set by Marshall. The spike by McCarthy is taken by Chamberlain, followed up by Brandel. Long bump over is not going to go over. Again, the spike slightly deflected at the net, but awkwardly followed up, and Brookline couldn't quite get it together. Serve over by Gilberto now. A diving dig by Alexander, and they managed to get it over. Received by Gilberto, set by Marshall, spike by Callahan is taken by Chamberlain, and they can't follow it up. Brandel really laid out for that attempted second hit. She looked a little shaken up, but she's given the thumbs up. She says she's good. Gilberto, another serve, taken by Chamberlain, followed up by Brandel. Long spike by Gumpel, received, set by Marshall. The spike by McCarthy goes for another kill. Not the hardest spike you'll ever see, but deflected awkwardly off the hands of Vera Montero for another point. Weymouth leads 4-2. Gilberto another serve, received by Chamberlain, set by Brandel. The spike by Hester is received by Gilberto, set by Marshall, spike by Callahan, taken by Chamberlain, set by Brandel. The spike by Montero barely gets through, and they can't follow it up. Almost blocked at the net there. I think it was Wegzin who was trying to block Montero, but ultimately she gets the point, and it's now a 1-point game as Kali Alexander sends her long serve, just catches the back line. Alexander likes to send her serves from all the way across the world, basically. 4-4 the tie score. And she sends this one deep, and it's taken by McCarthy, bumped by Marshall, tapped over, taken by Brandel, followed up by Alexander, and they just got to bump it over awkwardly by Gumpel. Received by DeCane, bumped by Marshall, spike by Callahan off the net cord for the point. Callahan had to move out of her original position, but got a lucky break there as her spike bounced off the net cord and over the outstretched hands of the blockers. Serve by McCarthy, taken by Chamberlain, and now spiked by Gumpel for the kill. Millie Gumpel, the nice spike there, and we're all tied up at 5. Checking in for Brookline, one of their 6 seniors, number 17, Jade Lee. She replaces Sophie Hester. Lee with the serve, received by DeCane, followed up by Marshall. Spike by Callahan goes for the kill. Chamberlain couldn't quite dig that one out. Dropped a little faster than I think she was expecting. 6-5, the Weymouth lead. And it's Callahan on serve. Up and over, received by Gumpel. Followed up by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel is going to go for another kill. Callahan couldn't dig that one out. Another nice spike by Millie Gumpel, who now checks out in favor of Lily Sternlicht. Brookline now with 5 seniors on the floor. Sternlicht, Alexander, Lee, Medina, and Chamberlain. Sternlicht with the serve, received by McCarthy, followed up by Marshall, and the spike by Wegzin goes for the point off the deflection at the block. This is number 6, Wegzin on serve. High serve is awkwardly received, and Brookline can't get it over. A number of these Weymouth players like to sort of send over these meatball type serves. They're high, they're not very fast, but sometimes it's just a trajectory you're not used to. This serve is awkwardly received, followed up by Alexander, sent over by Brandel, received by Wegzin, set by Marshall. The spike is deflected and taken by Alexander, followed up by Brandel. Long spike by Lee goes into the net. Weymouth now up 3. They lead 9-6 here in the second set. Claire Wegzin on serve. Up and over, received by Medina, set by Brandel, tapped over by Chamberlain, received by McCarthy, and now spiked by McDonald, but tapped back by Medina. Gilberto gets it over, received by Lee, set by Brandel, punched over by Medina, taken and sent over on 1, received by Lee, set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain this time goes for the kill. Another kill untouched from the hand of Jamie Chamberlain. 9-7, the Weymouth lead, as now Ayana Medina on serve. She gave her team a ton of service points towards the end of the last set. This one is received and not followed up. The short received by Liliana Callahan, and then everyone just kind of stared at it. Medina sends it over, taken by McCarthy, set by McDonald, and bumped over by Marshall, received by Sternlicht, set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain is blocked, but blocked out of bounds. Larissa Gilberto tried to block Chamberlain at the net there, but her block goes wide, and Brookline ties this one up at 9 apiece. Medina the serve, received awkwardly and can't be followed up. Callahan literally took that one on the chin. And Brookline now leads 10-9. Medina another serve. And this time sent over on 2? For a second they signaled the other way, but no, it is a point by number 5, Catherine Marshall. A savvy tap over on 2 after another awkward receive by Callahan. Marshall sends it over on the serve, received by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain. What a match she's having. The senior co-captain outside hitter, delivering just one kill after the next. Brookline now leads 11-10 as Sophie Hester checks in, replacing Jade Lee. It'll be Brandel on serve now. So Sophie Hester got to make sure she gets that hand sanitizer. Got to follow those protocols. Brandel sends it up and over, and no one takes it. Bit of confusion there between McCarthy and Wegson. 12-10 the Brookline lead. Brandel to serve, received by Callahan, and again confusion, this time on the second hit. Confusion between Catherine Marshall and Larissa Gilberto. And Brookline takes another point, 13-10 the lead. Serve goes up and over, received by McCarthy, set by Marshall, spiked by McDonald, goes for a nice long roll shot for the point. Lily McDonald closes the gap to 13-11. As checking in now for the Wildcats is number 14, Emma Desmond, as McDonald sends the serve straight into the net. 14-11, Brookline leads. They get the serve right back. And we got a pair of substitutions. This will be Chamberlain and Sternlicht checking out in favor of Caballero and Gumpel. Caballero the serve, received by Wegson, set by Marshall. The spike by McCarthy goes for another kill. Gumpel and Montero couldn't block that one as it got through for the point for Weymouth. 14-12 the score. Served by Gilberto, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spike by Montero, goes for the kill. Vera Montero, a nice spike there. Brookline now up 15-12 as Ayana Medina checks in. Alexander the serve, received by DeCane, kept alive by McCarthy, but they can't get it over. An awkward service receive by Maya DeCane gives Brookline another point. 16-12, they now lead. Alexander the serve, taken by DeCane, followed up by McDonald. A big hit by McCarthy, can't get over. Medina was there to try and block it, but they couldn't even get it over the net. And a timeout taken by Weymouth as Brookline leads 17-12. Again, Maya DeCane, the senior libero, struggling with the service receive against Brookline here, and Brookline taking some advantage. Once again, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan here giving you coverage of this senior day game, and what a game thus far for the Brookline seniors. Those 6 seniors again: Caroline Viola, Jamie Chamberlain, Ayana Medina, Kali Alexander, Lily Sternlicht, and Jade Lee. So out of the timeout they come. Brookline starting to pull ahead here in the second set. Alexander lining up for her serve. She sends it up and over, taken by DeCane, followed up by Marshall. The spike over, received by Caballero, set by Brandel, spiked by Medina, received by DeCane, bumped by Wegson, spiked over by Marshall, received by Brandel, bumped by Alexander, spiked by Brandel, and that goes wide. (17-13) the score. Sent over by McCarthy, received by Gumpel, set, spiked by Medina, deflected by McDonald, followed up by DeCane. McDonald just got to bump it over, taken by Alexander, set by Brandel, punched by Medina, received by McCarthy, set. The roll shot is deflected awkwardly by Alexander, and they're not going to be able to follow that up. 17-14 now the score. McCarthy another serve. Caballero receives it, set by Brandel, punched over by Gumpel, received by DeCane, set by Marshall. The spike goes right into the net. Wegson couldn't quite get it over, and Brookline now leads 18-14. Jade Lee checks in place of Sophie Hester, and Lee will be taking the serve. Lee sends it over, and that's going to be an ace. Dropped into an awkward spot. DeCane tried to go for the diving receive, but couldn't get the angle on it. Jade Lee gets the ace, 19-14. Another serve, received by McCarthy, bumped by Marshall, spiked by McDonald, taken by Lee, set by Brandel. The spike by Medina is received by DeCane, followed up by McCarthy, sent over by Desmond, received by Brandel, set and punched over by Gumpel. And now the spike attempt by Desmond is received awkwardly by Lee, kept alive by Alexander, bumped over by Brandel, and they still keep it alive. And now it's a battle at the net. Someone might have hit it. They're going to say Medina hit it. Medina hit the net, and so the point goes to Weymouth. Wild sequence there. Serve taken by Caballero. Brandel tries to send it over on two, but can't do it. (19-16) now the lead. Serve over, taken by Alexander, set by Brandel. Gumpel with the spike. It's received by McCarthy, followed up by Marshall. Spike by McDonald is taken by Alexander, bumped by Brandel, bumped over by Caballero. Received by McDonald, set, tap over, kept alive by Caballero, kept alive by Brandel, but they can't get the third hit. Claire Wegson with the tap, and now Brookline is going to call a timeout. 19-17 the score. Warriors still in the lead, but Weymouth chipping away. Brookline currently leads 1-0 here in this best-of-5 match. And this could prove a pivotal one. If Brookline takes this, they'll be one set win away from getting the sweep. Meanwhile, if Weymouth gets this one, they will manage to knot it up. And given how close this set is, it could be a big momentum shifter for either team. Because when your team plays well and you still end up losing the set, that can really just slow you down mentally. Back on serve is Liliana Callahan, received by Caballero, set by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel goes for the kill. That's how you want to come out of a timeout. Just a solid bump set spike by Brookline gets them an easy point, and the 20-17 lead as Sternlicht and Chamberlain come back into the game, replacing Caballero and Gumpel. The pair gets to go out on a high note after being two of the three pieces of that last point. Sternlicht with the serve. It's received, set by Marshall. The spike is blocked. Wegson keeps it alive. Followed up by DeCane, sent over by Marshall. Taken by Brandel, followed up by Alexander. Pushed over by Lee. Taken by DeCane, set by Marshall. Pushed over by McDonald, received by Alexander. Set, punched over by Medina. Received by McCarthy, sent over on two, and that's going to get the point. Savvy tap by Catherine Marshall. And Weymouth not going down here. 20-18 the score. Claire Wegson on serve for the Wildcats. Serve goes over, taken by Chamberlain. Set by Brandel, the spike by Medina. Received, bumped by Marshall. Spike by McDonald, taken by Alexander. Set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain is followed up, but they can't send it over. That's one of the best receives they've had off of one of Chamberlain's spikes, but they couldn't quite get it over. And so Brookline up 21-18 with Medina back on serve. Medina sends it over. It's received, set by Marshall, pushed over, taken by Brandel, followed up by Montero, and just bumped over by Sternlicht. Taken by McCarthy, bumped by Marshall. McCarthy sends it long and wide. The long roll shot by Karen McCarthy could not stay in, and Brookline now leads 22-18. Medina the serve, received awkwardly, but somehow McDonald gets it over. Taken by Brandel, bumped by Sternlicht. The spike by Chamberlain goes for another kill. The awkward deflection went a little higher than I think the back line was ready for there. And now 23-18 the score. Once again, Brookline finding success on the service points of Ayana Medina. Medina sends another one over. It's received awkwardly, and that's going to go for an ace. 24-18 the score. Brookline at set point once again as they find momentum under the serves of Ayana Medina, who gets an ace to finish it. Have yourself a game, Ayana Medina. One of Brookline's 6 seniors, producing some fantastic serving through these first 2 sets. Brookline takes the second one by a score of 25-18. The Warriors now lead the Wildcats 2-0, 1 set away from the sweep win and breaking their 6-match losing streak. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, live here at Tappan Street Gym. I'll be taking a short mute break, but I'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Tappan Street Gym in Brookline, Massachusetts. I am still Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, bringing you the live coverage of this high school girls volleyball match between the hosting Brookline High Warriors and the visiting Weymouth High Wildcats. Brookline off to a great start thus far, leading 2-0. They could end it with this set here and give their 6 seniors a nice sweep win for their last match here in Brookline. Those 6 seniors, Caroline Viola, Jamie Chamberlain, Ayana Medina, Kali Alexander, Lily Sternlicht, and Jade Lee. And the seniors having a pretty nice match thus far. Jamie Chamberlain has had a number of nice kills from the outside hitter position. Ayana Medina's serving has been absolutely fantastic. Kali Alexander's made some nice defensive plays as per usual. Jade Lee has gotten more playing time than usual, and she's made the most of it. Just overall a good effort by the seniors as the first serve from Weymouth's Catherine Marshall goes into the net for a First point for Brookline. Checking in now, we've got a senior for senior substitute as they send out Lily Sternlicht in favor of Jamie Chamberlain. Sternlicht sends the serve. Received by Callahan, set by Marshall, and I think, yep, we're going to have our first double hit call of the day. Catherine Marshall, a rough start to this set. She's been a very effective setter for Weymouth so far this match, but a couple rough points there. Sternlicht the serve. It's dug out and sent over on one. Received by Brandel, set by Alexander. The spike by Bree Bacon goes for the kill. I hadn't even noticed that Bree Bacon had checked into the game, seeing the hardwood for the first time this match, and she gets a kill from the outside hitter position. Sternlicht with the serve. Received by Callahan, bumped by Marshall, pushed over by McCarthy, taken by Brandel, followed up by Alexander. A long spike goes into the net by Brandel. 3-1 the score here in the third set as Lily McDonald takes over on serve for the Wildcats. They found some moderate success on the service points of Lily McDonald in previous sets, and they need all the success they can get here with their backs to the wall. McDonald to serve is taken by Bacon, followed up by Brandel, pushed over by Alexander, received by Marshall, set by McCarthy. The spike by Gilberto, sent not quite over, possibly blocked, but either way, there's the point. Larissa Gilberto and Karen McCarthy were waiting at the net to send that one over, so they might have tapped it back or it might have just not made it over the net. Either way, the score now 3-2. McDonald serves, and that's going to go for an ace. You can tell by her reaction, Sternlicht wants that one back. I think she might have pulled away slightly, but not enough, and it might have deflected slightly off her hands. But either way, I think it still landed in. 3-3, McDonald serves, and another ace. This time a quick drop at the feet of Kali Alexander. And McDonald building some momentum for Weymouth here. They lead Brookline 4-3. McDonald sends it over, just wide. That one was close, but ultimately a good watch by Brookline as Ayana Medina checks in to replace Kali Alexander. Caroline Viola now on serve. Received by Callahan, bumped by Marshall, bumped over by Emma Desmond, received by Viola, set by Brandel, the spike by Hester, received awkwardly by Marshall, followed up by Callahan, bumped over by Marshall, taken by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, bumped over by Medina, received, bumped by McCarthy and pushed over, and that's going to get the point. Larissa Gilberto with the last touch there. And my mistake, that was Claire Wegson on a number of those receives, not Liliana Callahan. The 8 and the 6 numbers on these Weymouth jerseys look too similar. Gilberto with a short serve that goes for an ace. Larissa Gilberto threw kind of a change-up there as Weymouth takes the 6-4 lead. Another serve received by Bacon, followed up by Brandel. Spike by Hester, received by McDonald, bumped by Marshall, and then sent into the net by Emma Desmond. The score now 6-5. Weymouth still leads. Jade Lee checking in, replacing Sophie Hester. And she'll take the serve. Up and away it goes, received by DeCane. Set by Marshall, spiked by McCarthy, deflected, and then followed up by Alexander, bumped over by Brandel. Taken by DeCane, set by Marshall. The spike goes long. Wegson couldn't finish that one. And now it'll be a serve by Jade Lee. Received by McDonald, set by Marshall, spiked by Desmond, received by Lee, followed up by Alexander, bumped over by Brandel, taken by DeCane, but kind of awkwardly, and they're not going to be able to follow this one up. The desperate second hit by McCarthy bounces off the scoreboard, which now shows Brookline's 7-6 lead. Lee sends it into the net, and we're now tied up at 7. It'll be Karen McCarthy now on serve for Weymouth. Received by Sternlicht. Followed up by Brandel. Spiked over by Bacon. Received, sent over on one. Blocked back by Medina. Taken again by McDonald. Set, and now spiked by McCarthy, and that one goes just long. Eight to 7, the Brookline lead as we got a couple substitutions checking in. This looks like Jamie Chamberlain, and seeing the floor for the first time, number 13, Charlotte Mullen. They replace Lily Sternlicht and Bree Bacon. And it'll be Mullen getting the serve to start things off. 8 to 7, the Brookline lead. Mullen sends it over. Received by McCarthy, set by Marshall. The spike is taken by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain goes for the kill. A lighter spike than usual, but Chamberlain got a lucky bounce off the net cord and gives her team a 9-7 lead. Mullen serves it straight into the net, and Weymouth takes over. Getting ready to serve now is number 7, Isabel O'Connell. Sends it over, received by Chamberlain, set by Brandel. The spike by Medina goes long. All squared up at 9 apiece now. O'Connell back on serve. And this one drops for an ace. Chamberlain couldn't reach that one. O'Connell sends it high, taken by Lee, and no one's there to follow it up. Another ace for O'Connell, and Weymouth now an 11-9 lead. And I gotta say, O'Connell's got one of the weirdest serve deliveries I've ever seen. Watch how her right foot is forward as she hits that. Received by Alexander, set by Brandel, punched over by Chamberlain, but I think she ran into the net. They're gonna say Chamberlain ran into the net, and that's another point for Weymouth. 12-9 the score. O'Connell sends it over, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spiked by Chamberlain, received off the wall, and that's going to be a kill for Jamie Chamberlain once again. Caroline Viola checks in, replacing Kali Alexander, and it'll be Ayana Medina on serve. Received by DeCane, set by Marshall, tapped over by McDonald. Chamberlain corrals it, set, and then the spike by Viola doesn't get over. Brookline's had some long strings of points on serves by Medina, but not that time, as they couldn't quite finish the play, and Weymouth takes the 13-10 lead. Serve, received by Lee, set by Brandel, spiked by Chamberlain again, received this time, and they managed to push it over. Lee, and then Brandel gets it over on 2, sent over on 1 by McDonald. Nobody was ready for it. Brandel just barely managed to tap it over, but then nobody was in a good spot to receive the high on-1 hit by McDonald, and now this serve nobody's ready to receive. Great effort by Alexander, trying to dive for that one, but ultimately they can't get it over. I believe this is Liliana Callahan on serve, who's been doing well thus far, and another ace, this time off the arms of Charlotte Mullen. Another serve, taken by Lee this time, set by Brandel. The spike by Viola goes for a kill. Nice momentum shifter there as they break off the strong string of serves by, actually, I think it was Claire Wegson. Those 8 and 6 jersey numbers, they've been mixing me up all match long. Weymouth managed to build a substantial lead. The score is 16-11. Morgan Brandel to serve, received by McCarthy, followed up by Wegson, bumped over by Gilberto, taken by Hester, followed up by Brandel, bumped over by Viola, received, set by Marshall, the tap over by McDonald, and then Hester sends it back, but they're going to say it was an illegal hit. You could tell by Hester's reaction, she kind of knew that her hit wasn't the right kind there. Serve by Marshall goes up and over, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain. They barely managed to get it back over, but then it's tapped back first by Hester, and then Viola couldn't quite get it over. Timeout now called by Brookline as Weymouth leads 18-11. Weymouth doing much better in this set than they did the first two. And they might be daring to hope for a comeback here. Of course, in Brookline's second match of the year, they played at Milton High School, and they fell into a 2-0 hole, only to dig themselves out of it and force a fifth set before Milton ultimately ended up getting the win. But unlike those Milton Wildcats, these Weymouth Wildcats have now been on the other side of this, and they're trying to make the same kind of comeback that Brookline did. Back on serve is Catherine Marshall. Received by Chamberlain, set by Brandel. The spike by Viola is deflected and then taken. They send it over on two by Gilberto, and they get the point. Everything going Weymouth's way right now. Marshall serves, awkwardly received, somehow gets over, but goes wide. Weird second hit off of a awkward service receive. They managed to get it over the net, but doesn't stay in bounds. 20-11, the Weymouth lead. Serve is taken by Viola, bumped by Brandel, and sent into the net by Chamberlain. Brookline looking all kinds of out of sorts right now as Weymouth leads 21-11. The serve received, but not well. And that's going to be an ace off the arms of Charlotte Mullen on the serve by Catherine Marshall. We got a substitution coming in. This is Fair Caballero coming in, replacing Charlotte Mullen. Another serve from Catherine Marshall, received by Hester, followed up by Viola, and no one there for the third hit. Brookline just looks completely lost right now. Marshall serves again, received by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain goes for the kill. Brookline at last able to find some rhythm. 23-12 the score as Chamberlain and Caballero check out for Bree Bacon and Lily Sternlicht. It'll be Sternlicht on serve. As Brookline a big hole to dig out of here. Sternlicht with the serve. Received, but not well. Wegson tried to take that one. And it ends up being an ace for Lily Sternlicht. Serve goes over, received awkwardly again, set by Marshall, but they're going to say a double hit on Marshall. Brookline fans surely remember the long string of serves that Sternlicht put together in an attempted comeback against Braintree. As this serve is awkwardly received, can they get it over? They do. It's taken by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, tapped over by Viola, and another point for Brookline. Do the Warriors dare to pit their hopes on the serves of Lily Sternlicht once again? Sternlicht with the serve, received by McDonald, bumped by Wegson, bumped straight up into the air. That's not going over. Now Weymouth looking kind of lost. 23-16 now the score. Sternlicht another serve. Receipt by McDonald. Set by Marshall. The spike by McDonald is taken by Alexander. Set by Brandel. Spiked by Hester. Received by Wegzin. Followed up by Marshall. Pushed over. Kept alive by Alexander. Kept alive by Brandel. Oh, but she couldn't keep from touching the net. Brookline had started to build momentum, but ultimately Brandel, in trying to keep the point alive, could not keep from touching the net, and now we've got set point for Weymouth. Lily McDonald on serve. And it goes long. They give it right back to Brookline. 24-17 the score, and it'll be Kali Alexander taking the serves for Brookline. Up and over it goes, taken by McDonald, set by Marshall, the spike by McCarthy, taken by Brandel, but no one was there for it, and that's going to end the set. Slight miscommunication there, as both Brandel and Alexander were going for it, and as a result, no one was there to follow up that first hit. 25-17, the final score of the third set. Brookline still leads, but that lead has now shrunk to 2-1. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan live here at Tappan Street Gym in Brookline, Massachusetts. I'll be back with the fourth set of what is now turning into a pretty exciting match, so you better stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Tappan Street Gym in Brookline, Massachusetts. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan bringing you the fourth set of this high school girls volleyball match between the hosting Brookline High Warriors and the visiting Weymouth High Wildcats. The score for the match currently stands at Brookline 2 sets, Weymouth 1. It was 2-0, but Weymouth managed to take that third set 25-17. After Brookline took the first two by scores of 25-19 and 25-18. So the Weymouth Wildcats trying to fight their way out of a hole here as they send out an opening lineup to start this set featuring number 4, Lily McDonald, number 5, Catherine Marshall, number 6, Claire Wegzin, number 7, Isabel O'Connell, number 13, Karen McCarthy, and I believe number 11, Larissa Gilberto. Brookline, meanwhile, sends out a lineup of number 11, Sophie Hester, number 12, Caroline Viola, number 8, Jamie Chamberlain, number 9, Lily Sternlicht, number 16, Morgan Brandel, and number 14, Ayana Medina, but Medina will be checking out for the libero number 1, Kali Alexander. And it'll be Morgan Brandel bringing the first serve of this fourth set. Here we go, serve is over. Received by Wegzin, set by Marshall, spiked by McDonald, is taken by Sternlicht, set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain is received on one. Chamberlain takes it, set by Brandel, spiked by Hester is blocked, kept alive by Brandel, set by Alexander, punched over by Chamberlain, but it goes wide. And Chamberlain ran into the net anyway, so it didn't matter. Number 14, Emma Desmond, replaces Isabel O'Connell on the Weymouth side. And it'll be number 4, Lily McDonald, bringing the serves. Received by Sternlicht, bumped by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain is deflected, but taken by Wegzin. Set by, and a block. That was set by Marshall, and an attempted spike by Emma Desmond, blocked well by Caroline Viola. Fair Caballero and Millie Gumpel check in, replacing Jamie Chamberlain and Lily Sternlicht. And it'll be Caballero taking the serve now with a 1-1 tied up score. Serve is up and over. Received. Sent over on 2 by Marshall, but received by Caballero. Bumped by Brandel. Spiked by Hester is blocked, but not enough. Emma Desmond and Larissa Gilberto were trying to block the spike by Sophie Hester, but they couldn't quite get it over. So Brookline now leads 2-1. Serve received by Desmond, but nobody's there to follow it up. That's the tough thing when your service receive goes straight up in the air and doesn't go up that high. It can be really hard to follow up. Caballero the serve, taken by Desmond, bumped by Marshall, pushed over by McCarthy, received by Brandel, bumped by Alexander. The long spike by Brandel is taken by Marshall, sent over on 2, received by Caballero, set by Brandel. The spike by Viola is deflected, and they can't get it over. Another nice quick spike from the middle by Caroline Viola. Brookline leads 4-1 early in this 4th set. Caballero the serve, received by Wegzin, followed up by Marshall, bumped over by McCarthy, sent over on the dive by Caballero. Weymouth getting set, pushed over by Desmond, kept alive by Brandel, set by Alexander, bumped over by Caballero, received by Wegzin, and they can't tap it over. Well blocked by Millie Gumpel. Marshall was trying to send that one over on 2 after the receive landed too close to the net. 5-1 the score. Caballero sends it away. Received by Wegzin. And again, Marshall is blocked, but this time keeps it alive. McDonald follows it up, and it's bumped over desperately by McCarthy. Received by Caballero. Set by Brandel. The quick spike by Viola. They say that caught the back. No, they say it deflected off a hand. Either way, that's a kill for Caroline Viola, who is off to a great start here in the 4th set. 6-1, the Brookline lead. Caballero, another serve. Received by Wegzin. Set by Marshall. Bumped and not over. Awkward placement of the set by Catherine Marshall, and Karen McCarthy could not get it over. Timeout called by Weymouth as Brookline leads 7-1. One of the best starts to a set we've seen thus far in this match, as the Warriors trying to put this one away. Once again, they lead 2-1 in this best-of-5 match. If Brookline takes this set, they win the match. If Weymouth takes this set, we head to the dreaded 5th set. Weymouth coming out of the timeout with Gilberto, McCarthy, Marshall, McDonald, Wegzin, and Desmond. Brookline coming out of the timeout with Gumpel, Hester, Brandel, Viola, Alexander, and Caballero. Caballero has been getting Brookline a nice string of service points. We'll see how she does out of the timeout. Serve is received by Wegzin. Set by Marshall. The long spike by Desmond is taken by Caballero. Set by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel is deflected and then received by Desmond, but no one's there to follow it up. Desmond again trying to back away from her own hit so someone could follow it up, but she backed right into her teammate, Lily McDonald. 8-1 the score. Caballero the serve. Received by McDonald. Bumped by Marshall. The long spike by McDonald is taken by Alexander. Followed up by Brandel. Spike by Hester is received by McDonald. set by Marshall, pushed over by McCarthy. Alexander tries to keep it alive, but nobody can follow up. The long string of points finally ends for Brookline. And it'll be Larissa Gilberto getting on serve for Weymouth. Up and over it goes, received by Gumpel, set by Brandel. The spike by Viola is good for a kill. Marshall tried to dig it out but couldn't do it. And Brookline gets right back on serve with a 9-2 lead as Ayana Medina checks in, replacing Caroline Viola. Long serve by Alexander, sent over on one by McCarthy. Received, kept alive, and sent over by Medina. Received and sent over on two. Brandel keeps it alive, set by Alexander, punched over by Caballero, received by McDonald, set by Marshall. The spike is blocked and then sent over, and the attempted spike on the follow was not good. Claire Wegson got blocked, and she couldn't follow up on her second attempt. Brookline with a 10-2 lead. Alexander sends it up and over, received by McDonald. Set by Marshall, spiked by Desmond, received by Caballero. Set by Brandel, the spike by Medina is received by Marshall. Set by McCarthy and spiked over by Wegson, but received by Alexander. Set by Brandel, spike, catches the back line, and the kill goes to Millie Gumpel. Excuse me. Brookline leading Weymouth 11-2. Served by Alexander, taken by McCarthy, followed up by Marshall, gets over, spiked back by Medina, and now a spike by Desmond is deflected and they can't follow it up. That'll get a point for Weymouth, but the Wildcats still in a deep hole here as Brookline leads 11-3. The serve by McCarthy is taken, set by Brandel, punched through by Medina, and they can't follow it up. Wegson was trying to block that one and couldn't quite do it. 12-3 the score as we have Jade Lee checking in, replacing Sophie Hester, and it'll be Lee taking the serve. Lee sends it up and over, received by DeCane, set by Marshall, tapped over, and good for the point by Clara Wegson. We have Isabel O'Connell checking in, replacing Emma Desmond, and O'Connell will be taking her strange-looking right foot forward serves. And it goes for an ace again. I always say it, don't question results. O'Connell sends it over, taken by Caballero, set by Brandel, the spike by Medina, goes for the kill. Slightly deflected at the net by Claire Wegson, but not enough. Millie Gumpel and Fair Caballero now check in for the seniors, Jamie Chamberlain and Lily Sternlicht. Sternlicht on serve. Last time she was serving, they were trying desperately to dig out of a huge hole at the end of the third set. Her serve is received by DeCane, set by McCarthy, pushed over by McDonald. Received by Lee, set by Brandel, the spike by Medina is taken, and then set by Marshall, spiked by McDonald. This time it goes long. Brookline leads 14-5. Sternlicht back on serve. Received awkwardly by McCarthy, and no one can follow that one up. The service ace by Lily Sternlicht now puts Brookline into a double-digit lead, 15-5. Sternlicht serves, DeCane receives, set by Marshall. The spike by Wegson, kept alive by Alexander, and they managed to push it, but it's blocked. I'm not sure what they called there. Maybe they called it Lee's push never made it over? I'm not sure, but either way, the point goes to Weymouth, 15-6 now the score. It'll be Wegson on serve. Received by Sternlicht. followed up by Brandel. Spiked by Lee, but it's blocked and then sent back over by Medina. McDonald to Marshall to McDonald for the tap kill. Lily McDonald, the savvy play there. Kept a heads up after Brookline was able to recover. And this time the serve from Wegson is received by Chamberlain, followed up by Brandel, pushed over by Alexander, received and sent over on 2 by Gilberto, taken by Alexander. The set, the spike by Medina is deflected and kept alive by O'Connell, followed up by Marshall, and then the spike by McDonald goes into the net. Brookline leading 16-7. Weymouth looking for any momentum they can find to try and get back in this set, and they can't seem to do it thus far. Medina's serve is received, but it goes into the pole, and that'll be an ace for Ayana Medina. Medina has been having a great senior day game thus far. Several great serves, a couple nice kills from the middle. This serve is received by O'Connell, sent over on 2 by Gilberto, taken by Lee, set by Brandel, spiked and blocked, but kept alive by Medina, followed up by Brandel, spiked by Chamberlain, is deflected and kept alive, and they're trying to bump it over. Gilberto sends it straight into the net. 18-7 now the Brookline lead as Weymouth calls timeout. Brookline just 7 points away from a senior day victory, while Weymouth needs 11 points just to tie this one up. Kudos to the Warriors for their response after losing a tough third set. You know, I think what might have happened there, Weymouth had the momentum for pretty much that entire third set. Brookline started to build a string of points together off some nice serves from Lily Sternlicht. And while they didn't finish the job, it's not like they got close enough to where they could, you know, sniff the comeback victory, but just enough of a comeback that you're like, okay, we're starting to get into rhythm. We're starting to get our momentum back. Let's just carry that over into the fourth set. And that's what they've done so far. Shows on the scoreboard, 18-7, as we come out of the timeout with another stellar server of Brookline's, Ayana Medina, back on serve. Serve is away, received by O'Connell. Sent over on 2 by Marshall, but kept alive by Sternlicht. Set by Brandel, the spike by Chamberlain is received by Wegson. Sent over on 2, kept alive by Brandel, and now they're just sending it back and forth at the net, and then it's ultimately won by McDonald. McDonald, another savvy tap kill. It is so strange. McDonald, one of the shortest players out there on the court, and yet she's a fantastic hitter so far for Weymouth. Serve is received by Chamberlain, followed up by Brandel, but followed up awkwardly. They're going to call the double hit on Brandel. That was just an awkward receive by Brookline. The serve again from Catherine Marshall. This time goes for an ace. Jamie Chamberlain couldn't receive that one, and Brookline switches into a 3-back set now. Marshall to serve. Received by Lee, tapped over but blocked, kept alive by Chamberlain, followed up by Brandel, spiked over by Alexander, but it goes wide. Weymouth trying to find that momentum here with Catherine Marshall on serve. Up and over it goes, received awkwardly by Chamberlain, kept alive by Brandel, bumped over by Sternlicht, received, set by Marshall, pushed over by McCarthy, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spiked by Chamberlain, goes for the kill. Another laser of a spike by Jamie Chamberlain gives Brookline back the serve with a 19-11 lead. Sophie Hester checks in, replacing Jade Lee, and it'll be Morgan Brandel on serve. Up and over it goes. Received by McDonald, tapped back down by Chamberlain for another kill. McDonald's service receive went a little too far and gave Chamberlain the opportunity to just tap it straight down for the point. 20-11. Brookline 5 points away from glory. Brandel the serve, awkwardly received, taken by Chamberlain, but nobody followed it up. Chamberlain's teammates might have thought she was just going to send it back like she did the previous point, but that time she was looking for a set play. Miscommunication gives it back to Weymouth, and it'll be McDonald serving with the 20-12 deficit. Serve received by Sternlicht, followed up by Brandel. The spike by Chamberlain goes for another kill. Chamberlain had to run for that spike, but still executed it perfectly as she checks out along with Sternlicht in favor of Fair Caballero and Millie Gumpel. 21-12 the score. Caballero on serve. Up and over it goes. Received and tapped back down by Gumpel. McDonald takes it, and now it's pushed over by McCarthy. Now the spike by Viola is blocked, but not enough. Gilberto was trying to block Viola there. Viola's had a nice number of kills from the middle. Caballero the serve. Received by McDonald, set by Marshall, spiked by Desmond, kept alive by Alexander, kept alive by Brandel, but she couldn't stop from running into the net. (22-13). Serve from Gilberto, received by Alexander, set by Brandel. The spike by Viola is dug out, but they can't follow it up. Gilberto dug that one out, but a bit of confusion. McDonald just tried to take a swing at it, and I think that threw Desmond off, and she couldn't make that second hit either. 23-13 the score. Alexander the serve, received by McDonald, followed up by DeCane, sent over by Wegzen, and Caballero can't get it. That'll make it 23-14. Serve by McCarthy, received awkwardly by Caballero, and that's going to go for an ace. Got a bit crowded there between Caballero and Alexander, and it ended up bumping off of Caballero's right shoulder, it seemed like. McCarthy, another serve, received by Gumpel, set by Brandel, tapped over by Medina, and that's going to go for the kill. Match point here. Checking in will be Jade Lee. How poetic would this be if Jade Lee, one of the 6 seniors, gets the winning service point? The serve goes over. It's received by McDonald, followed up by Marshall, spiked over by Desmond, received by Alexander, set by Brandel, spiked by Gumpel, deflected, kept alive by McCarthy, sent over by Marshall. A savvy tap gets Weymouth the point. It'll be Isabel O'Connell on serve here. Brookline at match point, 24-16. O'Connell sends it up, received by Caballero, set by Brandel. The spike by Gumpel is dug out by McCarthy, set by McDonald, spiked over by O'Connell, and that's going to drop in. 24-17 now the score. Weymouth, their backs completely to the wall here, as Brookline is still at match point and Weymouth still 7 points behind. O'Connell the serve, that's going to go long, and that's going to do it. Not the most poetic way to end it, but a win is a win. The Brookline Warriors take this match 3-1. 25-19, 25-18, 17-25, and 25-17. A great way to celebrate senior day for the Warriors as they snap a six-match losing streak that they had suffered and improve their record to 3-6. They'll be back on Thursday, or rather they'll be going out to Weymouth on Thursday for a match that's scheduled to start around 4:30. I plan on being there and covering the regular season finale of this team. I've been having a lot of fun covering this team. My hat's off to the Warriors for a nice win today, and my hat's off to the 6 seniors. What a great match they all had. Caroline Viola, a number of great quick spikes off of that short windup she does in the middle. Jamie Chamberlain, several lasers. out of the outside hitter position. Ayana Medina, some nice spikes from the middle as well, and some great strings of service points, especially in the first couple of sets where they took those leads. Kali Alexander, the libero, a solid defensive effort as usual, just what you come to expect from her at this point, as she just seemed to be chasing everything on the back end at certain points in the match. Lily Sternlicht, a slightly quieter outing, but I do believe those service points at the end of that lost third set really did help shift the momentum back to Brookline so that they could dominate the way they did in the fourth set. And then, of course, Jade Lee, a senior who hasn't been getting regular playing time this season, but got some regular playing time today for senior day, and she made the most of it. She had some nice serves, a couple of nice spikes, some nice receives on the defensive end, just a solid outing. You take your minutes and you take advantage of them. That's what I always say. So the final score, once again, Brookline 3, Weymouth 1. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan here at Tappan Street Gym. If you like what I'm doing and you want to support me financially or make any kind of special requests, I have a PayPal account. The link should be in the video description. If you'd like to follow me on social media to get updates about my upcoming broadcasts, you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. Once again, links should be in the description of this video. And that's about gonna do it. So until the road match on Thursday, I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Your final score, Brookline 3, Weymouth 1. Brookline takes the win. And from Tappan Street Gym, I am signing off. Thank you all so much for tuning in.